Aujourd'hui, j'annonce mon entrée dans la course de la
that
chefferie
I
du Parti
joined the race
conservateur
for
du
leadership
Canada.
of the Conservative Party of Canada.
I'm running because it's time for new leadership for Canada. It's time to attract new people to the Conservative Party. It's time to tell our story of why the Conservatives are the party for the people's hopes and aspirations. So let me tell you my story. It's a story like that of millions of Canadians who have come to Canada in recent decades and in the more distant past. I'm the kid of immigrant parents, and my family's Canadian journey began during the Second World War. My father was a Chinese immigrant from Hong Kong, and my mother was a Dutch immigrant from the Netherlands. Both my father and my mother's family were defended and liberated by Canadian soldiers during the Second World War. My father watched as Canadian troops defended him and his family during the Battle of Hong Kong, the first land combat engagement of Canadian soldiers during that war. And my mother's family was liberated by Canadian soldiers in the spring of 1945, after the winter of what the Dutch call the Winter of Hunger, something that the Dutch have never forgotten. And after the war, both my mother and my father immigrated to this country, where they met in Kingston, and eventually they got married. My father worked in logging camps and as a dishwasher in Chinese restaurants to pay his way through school. It wasn't always easy in those early years. My father, you see, came to Canada in 1952, only 5 years after the Chinese Exclusion Act was repealed by the Parliament of Canada. And my family's Canadian story is also a Conservative story. It's a story of hard work, of perseverance, of counting your pennies and investing in your children's future. My family would not be here today were it not for the sacrifices of generations of Canadians who came before us, Canadians who fought in 2 theaters of war. And that's the reason I'm running to be Conservative Party leader, because I believe in this country and the values that it stands for. My family owes this country everything. I'm running to be Conservative Party leader because I believe it's time for new leadership for Canada. It's time to attract new people to our party by putting forward new and ambitious ideas based on Conservative principles such as a belief in balanced budgets, lower taxes, and the efficient delivery of government services. Principles such as a belief in the power of free markets and free trade. Principles such as the belief that at the root of what it means to be a Conservative is to conserve our environment for future generations. Principles such as a belief in individual liberties and the need to protect individual citizens from an overly intrusive state. And principles such as a belief in democratic reform in order to curb the power of the PMO and party leaders to control the people's elected members of Parliament.